This event in Uvalde, Texas is going to be life-changing. Now, obviously, it's going to be life-changing for the people that lost family members in this senseless tragedy. Now, my heart breaks for them. This is devastating. But there's more to it than that. There are so many unanswered questions. The timeline doesn't work. The questions and answers don't line up. This is going to be something that goes down in the history books as a big event where things changed. Okay, everyone is talking about this shooting in Uvalde, Texas. However, my guess is they're missing the important parts. Now, I'm pulling this article from CNN Business. I'm trying to go as mainstream as possible. I know CNN ratings are in the gutter, but this was written by Brian Stelter. If anyone is going to argue, oh, you're just picking right-wing news, I am going to squash that argument immediately. This is Brian Stelter. This is his article, and there are urgent questions that have not been answered. We're going to talk about this. Conspiracy is when more than one person conspires or works together to achieve a common goal. A conspiracy theory is when other people speculate that a conspiracy is taking place, and it's not common knowledge. Some famous conspiracy theories are that we never landed on the moon, the Earth is flat, and that only one man shot President Kennedy from a book depository. Let me be perfectly clear. I am not offering an opinion on any of these conspiracies or conspiracy theories. This is merely an academic exercise about the concept of conspiracy theories. However, what I have seen, read, or heard this week, I think we have a new frontrunner. The shooting in Uvalde, Texas is going to blow the others out of the water and will be spoken about in history books for decades, if not longer. The mainstream story so far is that a single 18-year-old person went into an elementary school and shot and killed 21 people. This story is full of unanswered questions. Even CNN is calling it out. Here's what they're saying so far. Government statements are not adding up. Gaps and discrepancies are raising alarms. Elected officials are failing to answer the public's questions. This is a moment when journalists are needed, and a moment when journalists have to get it right. Okay, I love this. I think it's great. This is going to be the moment where the left and the right are going to be able to come together on common ground. We do need journalists, and we need them to research and report. Listen, this is a tragedy, but good can come from this. I think we have a moment to accept some positivity here. Okay, unfortunately, the subject matter is utterly heartbreaking. The deaths of 19 children and 2 adults at Robb Elementary. How was the gunman able to murder so many people? Why wasn't he stopped sooner? Who was responsible for the police response? Why were so many of the initial accounts incorrect? According to newer statements, what should we believe? Questions about police response were front and center all day, due in part to parents who spoke up, backed up by amateur video clips of Tuesday's chaotic crime scene. Most of their questions have not been answered. Frustrations have been boiling over. We've been given a lot of bad information. CNN's Shimon whatever, said on Thursday afternoon's press conference, these parents deserve to know exactly what happened minute by minute to their children, Anderson Cooper said later in the day. Okay, listen. We got Brian Stelter, we got Anderson Cooper, we got Shimon, the other guy. CNN is going full on. Now, this is not something that happened in Sandy Hook. CNN was, saying the government narrative from day one, from minute one, okay? But this isn't following that pattern. This is something to really pay attention to. This story is so convoluted and messed up. CNN is going, wait, what? Now, we expect this from Fox, okay? Not a problem, okay? Fox is calling it out left, right, and center, and that's fine. It's fine that Fox and CNN agree on this. This is great. This is healing for the country. The questions, of course, have triggered discomfort and defensiveness. When I turned on Fox and Friends Thursday morning, I heard Ainsley Earhardt saying, it's easy for the media in New York and California to place judgment. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. I don't want to get into the politics of this, of Fox versus CNN and Ainsley and versus Tucker. I don't care. This is not important for what I'm talking about today. Okay? There are urgent questions about the police response to the massacre have not been answered with clarity or consistency, and residents' frustration began to boil over on social media. There was a briefing this afternoon by an official of the Texas Department of Public Safety who answered some of the questions about the police response, but left considerable confusion. Why was the door to the school unlocked that morning? Unknown. The day before, DPS officials had said a school police officer confronted the gunman before he entered the school. At today's briefing, a DPS official said the opposite. The gunman entered the school without facing resistance. Police officers got there several minutes later. Why did it take an hour for SWAT team to assemble and force its way inside? That's a tough question. Okay, let's stop for a second, okay? We talked a little bit about conspiracies, and we talked a little bit how I think this is going to be a huge conspiracy. Now, mainstream media, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, they're covering a lot of these questions, and I love that. It's just good, okay? It's good for journalism. It's good for the country. It's actually good for gun legislation, and it's good for the parents that have had to suffer through this unbelievable tragedy. But here's the part that I want to talk more about. There are these questions that are popping up, okay? So there are fair and interesting questions. But to get into the serious conspiracy questions, we just need to dig a little deeper. Now, this isn't dark web conspiracy stuff, but it's not exactly mainstream either. The guns he went into the school with were top of the line, very expensive. Some might say they were almost exclusive. Where did he get the money to buy these guns? Okay, it has been rumored that he was teased and bullied for being poor. How does a poor person get access to a $2,000 rifle and a backpack full of ammo? Have you tried to purchase ammo lately? Okay, this is just a serious question that needs to be answered. Also, he acquired this rifle just 2 days after turning 18, according to some reports. Please fact check me. If I'm off by a day, then it is what it is. He acquired an expensive rifle almost immediately after he turned 18. Did he order it online ahead of the incident? Okay, this might be a prevailing theory, but can you buy a gun as a 17-year-old and have it waiting for you until you turn 18? It's not common. I've never heard of that. I think we need to ask a lot more questions. And why was that door left open? Okay, a door was left open into the school. How did he know to go to that specific door? Was he confronted before entering or not? It depends on who you ask. One report says yes. Well, if yes, then why was an 18-year-old carrying a long gun and a backpack full of ammo allowed to enter? If he was not confronted, then why not? One of these two answers has to be correct. Neither are good, but we don't know. Okay, why was there a delay in the cops stopping this shooter? There are reports that 19 cops waited in the hallway for almost an hour before taking any action. Is that true? I'd like to see some body cam footage. I'd like to know what's up. There's a lot of reports saying this is true. If it's true, why? Were they afraid? I need to know. We need to ask a lot of questions. Did the cops prevent parents from getting into the school for about an hour? Were parents arrested, pepper sprayed, and tased for trying to rescue their kids? Who gave that order? If you were parents outside of a school listening to gunfire for an hour, knowing that your kid might be shot, who told these parents they couldn't go in? Who told the cops they couldn't go in? And who arrested the parents for trying to save their children? If any of you are parents, would you not do whatever you could to try and save your children? And now you're getting pepper sprayed and tased? What? Is this true? If it is, why? And who did it? I want to know the answers to all of these questions. Okay, so because these questions are floating around and there are no good answers, the questions are going to get louder until good, solid answers are provided. So far, the lack of clarity, transparency, and answers are very troubling. It is my prediction that this horrible tragedy is going to go down as one of the largest conspiracy theories in history. Just the fact that Biden and the Dems have been pushing for extreme gun control, and this is something that they can use to further their goals. It also doesn't hurt that this is just a few months before a big election where it's becoming apparent they're going to lose very badly and the Republicans are going to take over. So all of these questions stacking up. I'm telling you, this is going to go down in history as one of the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. I know I'm repeating myself. I don't have a dog in this fight. So therefore, I don't have any opinions on these conspiracy theories. These are fair questions a journalist would ask. I'm just pointing them out. I am doing exactly what CNN is doing. They're asking questions. I'm just asking more questions. This is fair journalism. I still think this is going to be just the response from the feds and the police, and this is going to be butchered, and it's going to lead more and more and more questions. I hate to say it, but these parents are in for a long ride. This is going to make Sandy Hook look like, gosh, I don't want to make any references to that. This is going to be awful. And it's going to last a long time. And there are going to be questions that go unanswered for decades. You think we landed on the moon? Hell, I don't know. It'd be nice if we could go back. But this, we may never find the answers to why this tragic shooting was allowed to happen, or why it went on so long, or why so many people died, or how we got into the school. It's just awful. There's no way to put a spin on this. It's awful from every angle, except that journalists from both sides are asking questions. I'm going to try to focus on that and just hope for the best. If you like this kind of stuff, I hate to ask for a subscribe on such a dark story. But if you want to see more of this and you want to see, a different opinion on the main news stories, then keep coming back. That's what we're going to do here.